microphone is on. The Health Committee and the Arts Committee will now begin. Director?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Good
And you
morning.
have Adam with you as well, right?
Yes, I'd like to introduce Adam as well as Department of Aging team members here with me, if I may. Adam Sisler, Administrative Manager over all things finance in the Department of Aging. And while I know this is a budget hearing, so many of them are tied to dollars, so I wanted him at the table. And then behind me is some of the Department of Aging staff, including all of the leadership for it. So if I may, from the left, Frank Isaac is our Chore Services Supervisor. Mara Lane is our Age-Friendly Cleveland lead. Tasia Elder is our Social Services Manager. Jennifer Rosich is our Home Repair Manager. Yahira Soto is our Human Resources Manager. Emily Holt is our Supportive Services Supervisor. And Nicole Barkley is our Health and Wellness Coordinator, a new position.
Let's move forward to look at the strategic planning. Adam, with you being over finance, you guys have purchasing and procurement, and you have human resources, and what the departments fall under you as the director of finance?
To the chair, thank you. Yeah, so you highlighted a lot of it correctly there. So purchasing, involved with some legislation as well. All of the finances that go through us. I do work closely with Human Resources and Yahira as well for, sort of like all things administrative, sort of like the city-facing side of the Department of Aging sort of is part of me and part of Yahira as well. So between the two of us, we cover just about all that.
When you guys meet with Director McInerney, he's your right-hand guy. He's the finance person that's second in charge, looking at your chain of command, and then come human resources, because human resources take up about how much of your budget, and Department of Aging, people.
Staff-wise?
Yes.
Staff-wise is Yahira Soto is our HR lead, and then I provide some additional support for her as well.
I mean, in dollars. In dollars.
Oh, in dollars? Ballparking it, let's just say ballpark 175 grand total.
75 grand.
Yeah.
Ballpark of the entire staff. So it's about 80% of our budget.
Yeah. Oh, you're
is-
talking about the entire. Oh, gotcha. Sorry, I misunderstood. So yes, but definitely 80% of our budget for sure.
I was looking at about 81% in my mind. You also, with the equipment and supplies, does that take up the other part, or your fleet? How do you guys do that? You rent the fleet from other people, or you have a fund set aside for fleet and dealing with fleet management?
Yeah, so there's a line item in our budget for motor vehicle maintenance, and so a lot of those vehicle charges will come out of that. And we've also been fortunate to also get some capital dollars in the past for an infusion of vehicles when necessary.
Is that a big pull on your budget? What you do? 'Cause I'm just being nosy and looking inside your budget in my mind. So what do? You do preventive maintenance, dealing with the budgeting, dealing with fleet, and you kind of know where people are going in your vehicle. You have a GPS or something like that.
I'm not sure that we have GPS in our vehicles, but we do try to do preventative maintenance. We work very closely with getting, keeping up with regular maintenance, like the oil changes, getting those dash lights checked out as soon as possible, and then also just trying to encourage folks to be good, safe drivers as well. That's a large part of it, too.
And if I may, Chair, we do have extensive logs for all of our vehicle usage, so we know which address we're going to, and then the following address, and the beginning mileage, ending mileage, that Adam looks at every month that syncs up with our gas logs and usage.
That's important with budgeting. I'm just curious with the finance. So when they go out, do they have a check sheet?
Exactly.
Check over the vehicle?
Yeah, we provide them there's a binder that is assigned to each vehicle, and in that there is a log as well for who checks out the vehicle, check the mileage, start and end mileage. We do have a little checklist of things to keep in mind, like, simple things. Is there washer fluid in the car? Are the lights working? Small safety items like that can go a long way to just having a good car for folks to use and be safe in.
This right here attacks your budget, when we do strategic planning. And then you do the MVR as well, right? Motor vehicle report. I mean, like, you're checking people to make sure, because you're self-insured. Is that correct?
Correct. So yeah, we do get monthly reports from motor vehicle maintenance about our usage for things like fuel, any kind of repairs, things that happen like that are necessary. We get updates on all of that.
I'm talking about insurance. For example, you have some people may have 6 points or 8 points because we're self-insured, and you got to protect that budget also. You're the finance director. Do you check downstate, or you give it to human resources to do? I mean, you're over human resource, Adam.
Yeah, so human resources will check those driver's license periodically. That's part of city policy. So that is part of what we do.
That's important. We'll move forward with this. I want to get into the finance piece to see, I got to always check that.
Sure.
See what's going on with it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move forward.
Okay. And then may I ask who forwards the slides? Is that? Okay. Thank you.
Who forwards?
This is here. Oh,
Yeah, there it is right
Thank
there.
you.
It was blending in with this.
Thank you so much. Okay. So I'll walk through our PowerPoint chair and committee that goes through our departmental overview, our divisional sectional responsibilities and priorities, and then staffing levels and vacancies. So as a reminder, the Department of Aging's mission, we're committed to ensuring that Cleveland is an age-friendly city by enhancing the quality of life for Cleveland seniors and adults with disabilities through advocacy, planning, service coordination, and the delivery of needed services. So our critical objectives in the department are, number one, to identify and assess the needs of seniors and adults with disabilities to help them access available services, benefits, and provision of and programs through provision of supportive services. Another critical objective is to provide the core services of a fully operational Aging and Disability Resource Center that includes information and assistance, benefits assistance, long-term support options counseling, and economic security. This is a core service funded by the Ohio Department of Aging through the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging. We are a grantee of them to provide this service. The third is to provide case management services to at-risk seniors and adults with disabilities to prevent homelessness. This is funded through Community Development Block Grant dollars. Fourth one is identifying new clients in need of transportation services via the Senior Transportation Connection, also known as STC, and we submit the applications for service. The next one is a very popular one. It's about qualifying seniors and adults with disabilities for the Senior Homeowner Assistance Program, known as SHAP, the very popular age-friendly home investment program, AFIP, CTAPS, our tree program, and our bed bug assistance. Our team at the Department of Aging completes applications and collects the required documentation for grants for critical home repairs and maintenance. The next one is assisting seniors and adults with disabilities with interior and exterior household chores. That includes grass cutting, snowpath shoveling, leaf raking, and indoor chore. Next, collaborate with the Departments of Building and Housing, Community Development, Public Health, and Law to help seniors and adults with disabilities become victims of sham contractors and to avoid citations for health and housing violations via the Senior Initiative. And then our last critical objective is to lead the strategy implementation for the Age-Friendly Cleveland Plan as part of the World Health Organization's global network of age-friendly cities and the AARP network of livable communities. So I wanted to highlight some successes in 2024, where we're at today. Really happy to report that 174 age-friendly home repair jobs were completed or in production from year 5, and that contract began on November 1st, 2023 with Community Housing Solutions. With Frank and his team in our chore program, there were 5,150 grass cuts this season. So you might remember that we really are moving towards cutting every 3 weeks, which we've had increased success with, down from 4 weeks. We're always looking to assist as early as we can in this season with that. The next one is 95 senior initiative cases. This is that collaboration with building and housing, often involves housing court. This could be an individual or it could be an entire apartment building, as we're dealing with in Ward 6, where seniors are located in there, that aging can't work alone in this. We need to work with building and housing and health to really help make sure that the seniors living in these properties have safe, decent housing. ADRC stands for our Aging and Disability Resource Center. To date, we've served 2,508 individuals through those 4 services, which are information and assistance, access your benefits, economic security, and options counseling. Really proud of the referral system we have with fire and EMS for referrals when they see seniors in need to our Aging and Disability Resource Center. Next, through supportive services, we've served 1,609 unduplicated clients. These are the individuals served by people I think all of you know well, our geriatric outreach workers, Gladys, Tony, and Roz, who are going out every day in the community providing supportive services, which is a service partially funded by the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging. Another highlight is, we continue to serve people with a daily phone call through Cleveland Care Calls. As of this month, we have 150 residents receiving a call every day. We're always looking to increase that number, and so welcome your help with that. Another highlight is we started the year 6 contract for AFIP, the Age-Friendly Home Investment Program. That started on November 1st. So that cycle doesn't time up with the first month of the calendar. Our contract season with them starts November 1st. Already to date, we've received 275 applications, 12 jobs approved, and Community Housing Solutions is already out in the community on this.
Wait a minute. 12 jobs have been approved out of the 275 applications. Out of the 275 applications received, 12 jobs been approved. So what's
To the
issue?
chair.
Why does that take so long?
To the councilman, it just started on November 1st, so we're just 25 days into their new contract.
Just started November 1st in 24.
You got it.
Okay.
So we're really crossing, to the chair, we're really crossing ending year 5, which ended on Halloween, and year 6 starting on November 1st.
Okay.
In 2024, we launched the Safe Strong Seniors program with the addition of Nicole Barkley to our team as a health and wellness coordinator. This allows us to expand our health and wellness programming. This was at Morningstar Apartments this year in the summer, and it is really building on some of the work we've done and adding more health and wellness programming into it. And this program includes a partnership with public safety. I hope you've seen us out in the community. To date, we've been at 160 outreach events. I'd like to be somewhere every day. So every day people are turning 65, and every day people are afraid to call the Department of Aging because they're not sure what our goals are. And our goals are to help people age in place. So we want to continue to help people meet us when they're not in crisis so they know who to call. Another success is we had 13 signature events, and by signature I mean more than just a typical outreach event. This includes Senior Day, Hispanic Senior Day, Disability Awareness Day. We had our largest attendance for our Summer Senior Walk series. Another success is how many rides have been provided via Senior Transportation Connection. You might recall this is funded out of Community Development Block Grant funds, but the registration and the promotion of the program is with the Department of Aging. Another success is part of our age-friendly 2.0 plan. For the first time, we implemented a age-friendly City Hall task force. Through Mayor Bibb, each department was asked to select someone to join a task force that met over 6 months. And one of their outcomes was creating strategies that will be in our 2.0 plan that are housed here in City Hall. That was a really powerful experience for all of us across departments to work together on what makes an age-friendly city, because I know it is not just the Department of Aging. It's every department is what's going to make an age-friendly city. Another success, as I've mentioned, is we hired a health and wellness coordinator to collaborate with Recreation and PIO. Really glad to bring Nicole Barkley on the team, and this allows us to better partner with Recreation. We know our seniors appreciate our resource and recreation centers, but I know there's many that don't even know that they're welcome there. And that's some of the work we think we can help with, and then helping them increase their programming for seniors. We successfully reached more than 149,000 households with a live call or a successful voicemail with 74 different phone messages. So we use the reverse 911 system to make it. It's a very fast way for us to get information out, whether it's about an upcoming program, the release of an application, weather information, you name it. We've probably made a robocall about it, and those all either come from me or Mayor Bibb, and so I think it's a real trusted voice. I'll tell you, one of the most successful was around installing smoke detectors, and when that call happened, the Red Cross, the response was pretty overwhelming for people to get smoke detectors installed through the Operation Safe Home with Red Cross.
I like reverse 911.
Yeah, thank you. If I may, I'd like to just take a deeper dive into the age-friendly home investment program. I know that this is an area you're wanting more information about, so I'll also call it AFIP. And what you see here is the workflow for the age-friendly home investment program. You might remember that this program was originally came out of council reconciliation to help us reach more people with home repair in addition to the SHAP program. So in the workflow, aging processes all of the application. We advertise and process all of the application. That's Jen and her team. Our current contractor is Community Housing Solutions. They do all aspects of construction management. At the completion of the job, Mike Shockley of Building and Housing goes out to each home and signs off on it to make sure that the job is satisfactory. And then the bill comes back to aging and we pay the bill. In year 5, the allocated funds were $150,000 per ward. So I'm sharing with you sort of full data from year 5 as we start year 6 for this. So 151 jobs are completed and paid. There are 23 jobs in production that Community Housing Solutions expects, if the weather provides, to be able to finish this year. We've approved the estimates for this. We really are staying true to what originally we thought an average cost of a job was. You can see that there.
Okay.
10,000.
Really 11,000.
Sure, yes.
$11,000 when you round it up, average cost of a job. I mean,
You got it. Sure, yeah. And then to the chair and the council, the next graph is specific to wards. So this is once again year 5. The number of jobs complete is the first column. The number of jobs currently in production. And then any carryover money from previous years that will go to year 6 is listed there. So we've got about $246,000 that will carry over into year 6 jobs. And you can see it ranges from 25 cents left in Councilwoman Marr's ward, and a whole range of dollar amounts. But those just continue, and that's really the work of Adam and Jennifer and Community Housing Solutions to manage each of these by wards. We're really proud of the outcome.
Mr. Chairman, to the director, the total for each year on average, is that, what would that cost? Because we run this every year. What's the total?
To the chair, through the chair to the councilman, year 1 was $75,000 per ward. That stayed the same number for year 2.
It's not the question. Overall, the entire program budgeted.
Okay. I actually have it by ward amounts. Adam may have it by the total amount. I could probably do my math fast enough for it. Just give us a moment for that.
No worries. Thank you.
So 75,000 is how much? Times. You want to share that?
Through the chair to the councilman, the per ward total over the course of the 5 years is $550,000.
So for the entire program, for the entire city of Cleveland is how much?
That would be $9,350,000.
Okay. That's for every single year that we put the program in place, correct? Mr. Chairman and Madam Chairwoman, to the director.
That is for 5 years of the program, yes.
That's for 5 years.
Yeah, the total cost for
On the
5.
annual year, is it $1 million?
Say again, I'm sorry.
On the annual, what's the annual cost? 12 months?
1.8 million averaged over 5 years.
I have more questions, but I won't take advantage of the chair, so I will yield.
Thank you, Councilman. I'll let the director proceed.
Thank you. So if you flip to the next page, we do customer satisfaction surveys for clients. And so I wanted to share some of the survey data from year 5, which is what we're finishing here. And they really speak to me about the value of this program, from I'm able to get homeowners insurance now, to I feel safe bathing because I've had a modification to my bathroom, to my house looks occupied now because of a paint job. I have no more water leaks inside my home. I really liked this one. My home looks 100% better. And you could see the others, and we have so many more. As part of the satisfaction survey, in addition to answering narrative questions, we also ask on a Likert scale. And so 96% agreed or strongly agreed that Community Housing Solutions staff understood my home repair needs, and that's really important to all of us. And then 91% agreed or strongly agreed that I was satisfied with the quality of work completed. Of course, I'm happy with 91%, but I'd like that to be 100%. So we'll continue to work towards that. The next map, thanks to Urban Analytics, is a map that shows over the first 5 years where we have done age-friendly jobs throughout the city. So the darker color in the map by census tract shows the number of jobs completed. And so the darker color is 13 to 19 in that census tract. So I think that really shows that we are in all parts of the city where homeowners who meet the income guidelines live. I also just wanted to take this opportunity as we're closing year 5 to really look at how many jobs were done and what kind of jobs. So in years 1 to 5, 776 unique homes have received one home repair job. When I calculate that out into years, that's every 2.35 days someone's getting a job done through this age-friendly home investment. So that's a lot of production. And you can see the 7 most common. And one of the things that I would just add is this is just the job that the city dollars pay for. But Community Housing Solutions has shown us over time that they bring other dollars to the table. And while they're in their home, providing another job if available and if the house needs it. So these are just the dollars. So they add additional value to this. Our responsibilities and priorities, once again, we're the front door to the aging network. I brought for you, this is what I consider the aging network. It's a 144-page book. Not an easy read, but it's so valuable. And our department, as a Aging and Disability Resource Center and just a city department, we really one of our tasks is to help connect people to the services in there. So as you know, the city of Cleveland does not provide any home-delivered meals, but that is a very common asked-for program.
Thank you.
And so it's Department of Aging staff connecting people to the service in their community. That's just one example. But someone might call us about wanting a home care aide. Once again, that's not something provided by the Department of Aging team, but it's provided by the Aging Network, and we're the front door to that. And we always say there's no wrong door to enter the system, and we're proud to be a front door where, because of your magnets and your promotion out in the community, many people call us and may not even know these other services in the community. They may not know their neighborhood senior center. They may not know who provides hospice services.
When you give your senior day, when you have your senior day director, you probably go through this book and bring in a lot of stakeholders to your senior day event. Is that correct?
To the chair, you're absolutely right. We, this year, had more vendors than we've ever had. And that's really our hope, that we're bringing to Senior Day trusted nonprofits that provide these services, from Veterans Service Commission to Senior and Adult Services with Cuyahoga County to Western Reserve to Metro Health. We could go on and on. I could fill the public hall with just vendors, trusted nonprofit vendors serving seniors. But we limit it so we can make sure that we can get as many older adults in the space.
On that point, Mr. Chairman.
Point.
Mr. Chairman, can I request a listing of those vendors that come to the event that offer and provide services for senior citizens?
Through the chair to the councilman, absolutely.
And that, Mr. Chairman, just make sure I'm on the same page, detail-wise, is not just to have the name, but if we have all the information, contact information, who we can get in contact with, and if you have a brief description of what they do.
Through the chair to the councilman, we can add those additional components with a brief description. We have the contact information.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to the director.
Director, could you help Councilmember Joe Jones? He probably want to do a senior event. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then if you have an outreach worker could help him put on the senior event, maybe at Frederick Douglass Rec Center. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we can do that.
Through the chair to the councilman, happy to do that. And I think the addition of Nicole Barkley to our team will really help with that, to have someone help with additional planning events. Your geriatric outreach worker in your ward is Roz, Jay Roz, and so glad to engage him as well. So we have done several events at the Frederick Douglass Center and would like to do more. So glad. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, yes, sir.
Our next priority is high quality and responsive social service delivery. So that's really what we are, is a social service agency. And, you know, it's the time we spend with individuals varies based on their need. But for some, it's, 15 minutes. For others, it's hours. For others, it's days. And so that really varies by the senior need. But we're here to help is the tagline that's on our brochure, on the cover of it, which is the brochure that has all of our programs in one. But it's our philosophy is, we're here to help. Another responsibility and priority is home repair and maintenance. So we want to build on the success of the age-friendly home investment program. We want to collaborate with community development on the successful launch of the universal application. We want to make sure seniors have a way to access that, and we're here to help with that. This year, we piloted to add an additional resource for us to help with snowpath shoveling. We know that's a pain point when the snow falls, that we can't get to it fast enough. And through Frank Isaac, we've piloted with one company that earlier this year to add some additional support. And currently we've got contracts with two, seeking an additional one to help us in the upcoming winter season. And that will be so helpful for us to be able to get out faster. Prior to this, we had a team here and a great team at Court Community Services. But when the snow really comes fast and doesn't melt quickly, we needed some additional support. So we're really glad to be piloting an increased snowpath shoveling. I will tell you, this year we had the most grass cutting contractors as well as part of our chore program. So we had 4 contractors to help us, and that's specifically in the Department of Aging, not with any extra council support that Councilman Jones and Councilman Bishop provide in their wards. But we knew there was needed more capacity and a pain point for you and for residents. An additional responsibility and priority has been releasing our Age-Friendly 2.0 plan and activating the plan. An additional responsibility and priority is our safety initiatives. I mentioned earlier Safe Strong Seniors and care calls, but we really have seen the value of wanting to add year-round walking programs. And so we launched that at 3 rec centers 2 weeks ago. So we had so much success and engagement over the summer in the 10 senior walks. And what we heard from the survey we did, we got 195 surveys back of the participants, so a lot of good data, is they really want to keep walking and they want to do it in safe places with each other. And they want to do it with other people they know. And so we can help with that. That's us helping to connect them to rec centers. So we're at currently Zelma George, Collinwood, and Gunning on the every Wednesday.
We can help you with that, council members. We just put a park at the Shirley Chisholm Park, with exercise equipment that could work on the core, bone density. And so when you walk, is that Barker?
Barkley.
Barkley, you walked in an area where when you go in circles, walking is good for your core and your balance. But if in some of our parks, as I said earlier, we have exercise equipment.
Thank you to the chair. As we come up with our 2025 nicer weather walking outside, we definitely want to check out the Shirley Chisholm Park. So thank you.
It's right next to Case Western Reserve.
And then,
Good, Mr. Chairman.
Let me put you down, because we almost finished.
No, just real quick on the issue of
point?
safe walks.
Yes, sir.
Do we, the only, Zelma George is the southeast location for the safe walks. Have they, when you put that program together, was that a program where it was your department going out and developing the program in Zelma George? How did it evolve? To
the councilman through the chair, the safe walk, or it's It's called Keep On Walking, Safe, Strong Seniors, grew out of the Summer Senior Walk series. So many recreation programs have senior exercise programs. So we're not looking to compete with that. We're in cooperation and just adding an additional one where these walkers who may or may not have been connected to a rec center were encouraged to, they were coming every Wednesday in the summer. Well, let's keep that going. And we'll be in these 3 to start with. And we hope to add more. What we're looking for are sort of indoor walking tracks. This is when we can't walk outside, which is what we expect in late fall through the winter. And then we'll resume in our out in the community walks.
Who puts that together? Would like to do that, Mr. Chairman, for our neighborhood because we do have a lot of senior citizens who are very active and want to try to be able to create some opportunities, even if that means that I have to put skin in the game.
To the councilman through the chair, in the audience is Nicole Barkley, who I'm sure is writing this down. Nicole, if you can raise your hand. And we will... that's an easy lift for us, is to look into 2025 at Frederick Douglass, maybe walking around the basketball gym there area, and adding that. I think seniors would be pleased, so yes.
Maybe even taking it to another level too, Mr. Chairman, and trying to figure out how we get a walking path around them because they do have a walking door, inside walking door, so having one on the outside I think would be nice too. So that's great. It'd be an improvement, see how much it costs.
To the councilman through the chair, the attendance at the Frederick Douglass Summer Walk this season was outstanding. We walked outside and around Safety Town and around those, they really like that hill behind that sort of goes up around the baseball parks and the gazebo. We, Cleveland Public Library partnered with us on that one and gave away 1,000 books as well. So it's not just about physical health. And once again, this is us, the value of this for us is this is us introducing aging services to people who may not know about either the Department of Aging or the Aging Network, that this is a place they can come. And we really believe strongly, and I think all of you see this and hear it, people are isolated.
They are.
And so these opportunities, and your social circle tends to get smaller as you age because of retirement and losing your work network, but then also through the death of loved ones and mobility needs. I could, go on multiple reasons why your social circle. So the more we can help people expand their social circle, the healthier our community will be.
I like that Tai Chi also, you mentioned earlier. I like that. Give us a cost on that. When you, but call me before budget hearings and let us know how much Tai Chi would cost. So when you're walking, then we could stop, councilman, we could do the Tai Chi.
Now, Mr. Chairman, you really hit something that a lot of folks don't know about. And I think that, Tai Chi is on the same level as, what's the other one they use? They stretch all the time. Yoga.
Yeah, I think in
Right.
yoga as
So,
well.
so the issue would be if you're looking to do that over there, I would love for you to do a Tai Chi because Tai Chi really, really helps to waken the body up, especially when people don't know that there are certain points that you can tap and touch that can wake up the entire system. And they don't even know that their systems are so sophisticated. So I think Tai Chi is excellent.
Councilman, I wasn't thinking about Glenville when I talked with the director. I think about the whole entire city. I think macro, not just Glenville. Isn't that right? I mentioned that to you earlier. We were discussing Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Or even doing an event in your area dealing with the seniors event, so we could do it macro.
So do
for
they
everyone.
have Tai Chi classes? You guys are doing Tai Chi classes now?
To the councilman through the chair, you will see in the 2025 budget request some additional dollars requested for contractual that we expect to put out to bid. We do not currently have it, but from those 190 surveys we got back, that was a top request. And so we think we want to bring that to our city resource. We want to collaborate with them on that service.
Will distinguished lady, Miss Nicole Walker, be the one that's going to do this one? I mean, Nicole Barkley is going to be the one that's going to do this?
To the councilman through the chair, Nicole is leading all our health and wellness, so putting that out to bid with Adam next to me and identifying. We just spoke about it last week, as we really want to help expand those offerings in the city.
Will the contract go through Sonia Pryor Jones, or will it, we just have to give you extra dollars? You give us the proposal, and then we give you grant dollars. How does that work? Either you or Adam can narrate that.
To the chair, the dollars requested in the 2025 budget are general fund dollars. And so those will, the requests will come out from aging and be paid by aging. You know, if there's additional interest out of dollars from council, happy to talk with you about that. But what you'll see in the budget is money directly out of aging.
All right, cool beans. Is there another question, Councilman?
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
All right, we'll move forward.
Okay. Thank you, Council. So then the last page is the staffing levels. And so what you see there is what was the 2024 budget head count of 13 full-time and 3 part-time. What I'll just say is this is general fund. I added a page about grant fund. As of September 30th, we had 15 full-time and 3 part-time, and that's because we got 1 additional person out of the vacancy pool. And then a clerical error on our part, we had 1 person left on a grant that should have been on the general fund that transitioned, so that got cured this year. We have 0 general fund vacancies. You'll see in the 2025 budget, there are 2.5 staff people requested from the Department of Aging. The first is a full-time administrative assistant. I know this has been a pain point for some of you wanting better access to me and meetings and such, so I think that will really help. A full-time administrative assistant, both to assist me and our administrative managers. As a reminder, we don't have commissioners in the Department of Aging. We have 4 administrative managers, but that position. Also a full-time age-friendly Cleveland project coordinator. Mara's been leading this effort, but really to land this plane about making an age-friendly city, we believe strongly that we need an additional staff person to be able to implement and lead these strategies. And then the third one is a part-time volunteer coordinator. I've thought for some time that this was needed, and there are so many ways that a volunteer coordinator could assist us. The first one, I've been looking at several cities across the country who use a large volunteer base that live in the neighborhood that are matched with seniors when it comes to snow shoveling. And so if we had someone who could coordinate that, we think there's interest from residents to help other residents, but it takes coordination to match. And what I think that could really help with is, you know, when the snow falls and cars can't make it through, but if a neighbor on the next street can walk over and is matched with a senior, that's just one example. But another is City Hall tours. Oftentimes, people come to City Hall wanting a tour, and we think this is an opportunity for older adults to be more engaged at City Hall, either as helping with wayfinding. So this is something with Director Angela Shute-Woodson and I have talked about, a way to use older adults in the same way you see them at the airport and that you see them at the zoo and at other places, using the talents of older adults here in City Hall. You probably could come up with many ways volunteers could be used, because I know also out in the community we get requests sometimes for just a one-time assist for an older adult. So this is something that came out of our age-friendly plan, and excited to bring that to fruition. I did also want to share our grant staffing levels. So we've got 10 full-time people that are grant funded, 5 part-time, and 4 seasonal employees. Our head count right now is 18 as of November 15th. And our current vacancies in the grant are a part-time position funded by the Ohio Department of Aging through the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging for HEAP outreach. We expect that contract any day now from them. So when that comes through, we have a candidate that's right now in the background check phase. I also shared here our current organizational chart. So the positions in blue are our general fund positions, and the positions in gray are our grant-funded positions. I'll note that 54% of the Cleveland Department of Aging team reside in the city of Cleveland, including myself and my Ward 15 councilwoman across the street. I live across the table. I live in Ward 15. And those are blocks and numbers and names, but these are really who the Department of Aging team is. So I'll conclude with this, that, what I've shared in this PowerPoint is what we do, but how we do it, which I believe is high quality, is because of the individuals on this page who every day are here to help older adults. The top 3 photos are our 2024 All-Star in Aging Award recipients. So Reba Clardy, Eric Anderson in the middle, and Tony Dial, nominated by their peers at the Department of Aging for this quarterly award. The lower left-hand photo is a day that the team did as a service day at the food bank, packing bags. And then American Heart Association Month in the middle with red. And then in purple is our photo on June 15th, World Elder Abuse Day, where we raise awareness for that. And my last comment, I will just say, many of you have asked me, what are older adults? What are you hearing at the Department of Aging? I think you're hearing these things at your office too, but I would just share concerns about property tax increases in 2025 and what that will look like. Affordable rentals that are safe, sanitary, and secure. More home repair grants and loans. And then if someone isn't eligible for that, either because of finances or they took advantage of that and they can't apply again currently, how do they find trusted handymen and contractors? And then lastly, I would say a concern that we continue to hear is, as many residents, just concerns about their own safety in the community. So with that, Council Chair, I conclude my presentation.
That was a good presentation. That was very good presentation. With the property taxes, that's my biggest issue also. It should be that property taxes for seniors who's been there a while. I know we have homestead exemption, right? But if the senior been there for a while, it should be legislation that that they are grandfathered in a certain kind of way. And I don't know where it's at downstate, what the legislators are doing. You do? Yes.
The timing for, Mr. Chair, just a point of privilege, thank you. Yeah. Timing for this discussion is perfect because it's today at our caucus at noon, Rep. Juanita Brent and Rep. Bride Rose Sweeney are coming to present or to discuss the various pending bills and which ones they're supporting. And I think those are, yes, these are critically important questions that have to do with state policy.
Yeah, what we have to do, they have to let us know when it's going to hit the several different committees, and then as council members, we could sign up and go down there to testify, and if we need to bring buses or anything like that to shine a light on this issue, I think we have to do that. Were you down there with us when your predecessor and I was down there earlier in the year? Not earlier in the year, it was some years ago. You were down there.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think I was with you, but I'm regularly down there around food insecurity issues, and I think, as you have narrated to me, I think many seniors would be interested in personally making a visit to Columbus with the organization of that. So,
Yeah, because we got to stop that piece, because that, with just high inflation, that's tearing us apart. That's not good at all. With 311, do you take a lot of data off of our 311? For example, someone calls from Ward 15 or Ward 9, you kind of know when you do your budgeting, where the dollars should flow. And do you take any data from the 311?
To the chair, we work regularly with Dr. Crow and her team. They're just 2 floors above us, 3 floors above us at 75 Erie View. I haven't seen the new data with the enhanced 311, but we're ready for it and ready to respond. Many times, Department of Aging calls just come to the Department of Aging directly. You know, we're really proud that we have someone that answers the phone 45 hours a week at our office. And then 311 often transfers their calls or makes referrals to us with seniors. But I'm very anxious to see the new enhanced data for 311.
Yeah, because you could take a lot of data from 311. It could be data for seniors, data for, let's say, streets need to be resurfaced, data from where the street lights are out, and then when the mayor gives us his transmittal, the 311 information is up-to-date information because it's the residents calling, saying what they need and what they want, and you could take their needs and create the budget from there as well. And so that 311 is a great thing to look at. I was discussing with you earlier today and to my colleagues, and as I mentioned to council member, he's gone. I think of the entire city, and at University Circle, we're working on a project now to place seniors and people with disabilities into jobs. At the Art Museum, I'll talk about it tonight, Natural History Museum, Cleveland Clinic, and we're looking to do a huge job fair coming up soon, Danny. And we feel that people with disabilities should be working there, because work is therapeutic, and if you believe in the power of work, you can get them in the culture gardens there, whatever the case may be, to put people to work. And we're working on that now. Sir?
Point, Chairman. So is that for pay, you think? Or?
Yeah, it will be for pay.
Just sometimes if somebody's on SSD or something like that, there's restrictions on whether you can get.
I know SSI have restrictions, but we'll look at it for pay. The Art Museum, Bill, the director, or I don't know if he's the president or the director, we were in a meeting on Thursday. He was very excited about it, and he said he wants to be the first one. And we're talking about hiring people to put people to work, senior citizens there. And not only is it therapeutic, I mean, when you work for the Art Museum, you get a chance to see, learn some other things, knowledge will grow, and you'll be able to get pay. So we I met with Kate Borders also on Friday. We discussed it. I just talked with the director, Mary McInerney, and you mentioned to get your coordinator. I forgot her name again. I hope she doesn't get mad with me, to get her involved. So when we sit down and put systems in place, and I think you said she came from working, putting people to work with jobs. Is that correct?
To the chair, yes, I think 2 staff people, as you talk about this, sort of come to my attention for this, both Mara Lane with our age-friendly Cleveland work, and she came from working at Maho, right there in your ward, maximum accessible housing, and is part of the Northeast Ohio Coalition of Disability Organizations, and then also Nicole Barkley.
With us. They were at the
Yes.
table we were discussing.
And then also Nicole Barkley is the person who came from workforce, spent 20 years at Ohio Means Jobs, and now is health and wellness. So I see some real synergies there between our age-friendly work and also what you're talking about, health and wellness and financial needs.
Yeah, that's a huge engine. University Circle is a huge job creating machine, and it would be great. I know it's we deal with the arts there a lot, but if we could put people to work with disabilities as well as senior citizens there, I would really, let me say, cool beans to do that. And they have it. They were very excited about it. Mayho was excited about it. So we're going to move forward to get that done. It could be part-time or whatever the case may be, but I'll let them work that out. The main thing, I want to create, to my colleagues, a job link to link them to employment from not just Ward 9, but the entire city. We get people working. So I'm going to need that. You and I will talk. We'll talk about
Please.
it. I'll call you, you call me, and we'll get that moving right after the holidays. We'll start discussing it, and then hopefully we'll start being able to move on it. Danny, Councilmember Kelly, soon, maybe in February or March, we'll start moving because we already got people that are excited about it. Oh, yeah, you go there, you can study what's going on in there. Here's the other question. Older American dollars. The budget you mentioned and age-friendly home investments, is you want to move it back up to 150,000, or was it, you want to move it back up to what, so I can narrate it when we're on budget time?
Through the chair, we had been steadily increasing our age-friendly home investment program dollars. So year 1 and year 2 in total were $1.275 million. Year 3 and 4 were $2.125 million. We did so many jobs in year 5, we got up to $2.55 million. And then in year 6, it went back to $1.25 million with ARPA funds. So we, as you see by the number of applications we've received and production, it would be our hope that we could get it back up to $2.55 million as a whole and even larger, if possible, in next year's budget.
So what you thinking, 2.55 million or the, and you said that equals to 150,000 per ward?
To the chair, that's correct, 150,000 per ward. So yes, we'd like to 2.55. We believe the demand is out there. 3 million's possible. For the first 5 years, it was funded through capital dollars.
Got you.
And then in year 6, it was ARPA dollars.
I'll be able to bring that to them. Okay. Just, you had a great presentation. So I'm putting a star by there. We talked about the other piece with the taxes. And then the wheels. I had a meeting with the director. We met at 8:30 and we discussed wheels also. What I'm looking at with wheels, a lot of seniors just don't feel wheels out. We have a law clinic at Case Western Reserve, and we're looking at how can we partner so that wheels can get filled out. Because what happens a lot is that seniors, since they don't, it goes to probate court. And when it goes to probate court, it sits there, and when it comes out of probate court, some of the homes end up rotting while waiting for years and years, and then the city have to go and then we have to tear the houses down. But if we get wheels now and we start working with them for the wheels, we can do prevention. So the director and I was talking about it, and we got a lot to move forward with on. With Case Western Reserve, see, it's a lot of resources there. Their law department, we'll meet the law director and we'll talk, and the dean of law, because they do wills at Case Western Reserve Law School. So we got to get them to do it for the seniors. We have to, and it's in our area,
To the chair, thank you. Look forward to partnering with you on that. And as I mentioned, Tasia Elder leads our Aging and Disability Resource Center, and I think this fits under economic security really well. This partnering with legal entities that can help older adults.
And I'll call you, Director. We'll talk this week, and then we'll meet right after Thanksgiving, and we'll discuss. Then we'll get things started to move forward. With the care calls you have here from Reverse 911, that was from the National League of Cities.
Okay.
Council members, when we go there, we bring back legislation. So we brought back Reverse 911, as well as 311. That was from the National League of Cities. I was bringing that up so people won't think we're just going to go. But we could, if you talk with Joan Mezzaline, we could put this in our newsletters. This Cleveland Care Calls,
Thank you.
and that would be a good thing. I want to yield to Council Lady Jenny Spencer. Did you, the Vice Chair, you want to go?
I'll do a couple quick questions.
Okay, you don't have to go quick.
Thank you. Well, as you know, I think we're all big fans of the Department of Aging, and we're so grateful for what you do for our seniors. And to the extent we're asking anything, it's because nothing ever feels like enough when you have a city that is, we are an aging city, and the caring for our seniors is going to be one of our next big generational challenges, and it already is. If I could ask briefly, because the Department of Aging, along with the Department of Health, is substantially grant funded compared to other departments. Could you share a little bit? We heard something about a new grant management software. Does that sound familiar to you? And could you share a little bit about how you sort of manage your grants through the chair?
Sure. Through the chair to Councilwoman Marr, I'm going to ask Adam to speak to that.
Can I ask some more questions on top of that also? Development officer that deals with the grants. Do we have that in the Department of Aging?
To the chair, all grants and grant management in the Department of Aging is through me. I'm that guy. Yeah.
He's that guy. That's
I'm
what
that
he
guy.
said.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It is what it is. So, but to the chair, to the council lady, yes, we do. I have been made aware of some potential new grant software that's on the horizon. I've seen a high-level kind of overview of it. It looks like a nice piece of management software. That'd be my opinion.
Okay. Could you tell us the name?
Not off the top of my head.
Not because you don't want to, because you can't remember.
Exactly.
Okay. And could you tell us a little bit, you are in the weeds with your grants. What is this new software trying to fix? What's the problem with the old software, or how we manage grants up until now?
If I remember correctly from the conversation that I had, it's really just updating some of our software. I think the program that we use currently through Advantage is some years old.
Okay.
And so it's a more modern system, more modern tools. It is web-based, which is attractive, for it being accessible from more than just a city computer logged into the city network. So in that way, it gives them enhanced access, I suppose.
Okay. And I'll say this because, we've recently been through a arguably grants management software change in community development that went kind of poorly, right? The Neighborly app, and now is no longer being used. So who is essentially managing the acquisition of this software, and do we have a price tag for this software through the chair?
All those are great questions for financial reporting and control.
Okay,
Yeah.
Not for you.
Correct.
Okay, okie dokie. Well, it sounds like, Ibukun, if you could note that request, if we could get it over to finance for a overview of what they're looking at in terms of this grant management software and the potential price tag, we would be very grateful. I also can't let the conversation about walking go without just putting in a pitch, both for the listening audience and for the Department of Aging, that at Stella Walsh, we not only have a great gymnasium open now for walking, but we have recently acquired a set of new weight equipment, including an ADA accessible room that has mobility accessible devices for both upper body and lower body. That's separate from the main workout room, so you don't have to be hanging out with all the gym bros if you don't want to be. And we really want that. It just opened in the last couple weeks, and in 2025 we're going to be thinking about how to program it so that this excellent equipment can be used. And so I would love to partner with the Department of Aging to get the word out to our seniors and to anybody who needs mobility accessible devices, that we have a fully ADA accessible element of our new equipment at Stella Walsh.
Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want it to be well used. So I will pause my questions there, and I will hand it over to Councilwoman Jenny Spencer.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And I, of course, want to echo your comments about how much this body values the work of the Department of Aging. And I'm so glad that the staff is here behind the director just to participate in today's hearing. And we just really want to extend our appreciation to all of you for what you do for seniors in the city. Thank you so much. And this has been a great discussion this morning, thus far. And I really want to focus my time on the AFIP program. And we've already hit some really important information about it, but I want to take a moment to kind of go back in time to the philosophical underpinning of the age-friendly home investment program and make sure I understand this correctly. Because first of all, I understand that it was council's baby, that this was something that council created. Council said we have a need, there's a gap. We need more home repair assistance. And so it's my understanding that this was council's baby initially, and that the reasons to create age-friendly home investment program, or AFIP, were because we wanted to be able to use more flexible funds as opposed to HUD dollars, which can be, there's a lot more strings attached, a lot more regulation involved. And also, I want to reconfirm, so this goes into a question, I want to reconfirm that the income requirements are a little more flexible compared to SHAP or other programs. So just want to take a moment to go back and see if, through our chair and vice chair, if the director can kind of affirm your recollection of sort of the philosophical underpinning of why did we create AFIP to begin with.
To the councilwoman through the chair, yes, AFIP was created by council, and it was to serve more people than the SHAP program was able to. And we knew at that time, 4 council members met with me and shared their wishes for what was a more flexible fund. I then met with the law department, and out of it came AFIP. So the income guidelines, if this helps currently, SHAP program is $23,050 for a one-person household gross income. AFIP's current one-person household gross income is $37,060. So we're catching people that are not able to access SHAP because they are above the $23,000 amount, but still have needs. The second thing was we had heard over time that 6 months of bank statements, which is required by SHAP through HUD, was very difficult for seniors to get, whether it's printing them out, getting access. So the AFIP program requires 2 months of bank statements. It also, one of the things we heard, and I think this really gets to what the councilman says through wills and how homes are titled, we have more flexibility if there's someone on the title that doesn't live in the home, if we can prove where they live. And so we had many people being not selected for SHAP because perhaps they had a deceased spouse on the title, and then the time to go through probate to get that person removed. You all heard those pain points. And so that was a really big one for us, was being able to have more flexibility with that. And then you said also, because it doesn't use HUD dollars, it doesn't require the environmental review. So you can see that the production is just faster. And, that's exactly right.
Thank you. And I think members know this, but I think it's so important to reestablish. So why did AFIP happen to begin with? Why are we committed to it? And I then want to kind of proceed to a next question related to production being up. And I think production being higher than other programs. And I think I want to reaffirm my understanding that a lot of that has to do with having found or identified the correct partner or a partner who could undertake that level of production. So I was hoping through the chair to ask the director, it's my understanding that historically it's always been Community Housing Solutions, and it still is. Is that relationship still, do we need to bring on other partners, or is that relationship bringing us the level of production that we need? Through the chair.
Through the chair to the councilman, for all 6 years of AFIP, Community Housing Solutions has been a key partner. We did bring on Rebuilding Together. I believe that was in year 4 to help that. We'd like to continue building the bench of home repair. We know the need is out there, but home repair, Community Housing Solutions hits it out of the park with their production, their responsiveness to residents, and they are very interested in remaining a partner of this program. And as I mentioned, they bring so much more to the table. They regularly utilize federal home loan bank dollars that add more into the program. So I think they're well equipped for the future.
Thank you. Yes, they do leverage additional funds, which is also valued. I'm concerned, and so I want to make sure I'm on the same page with the chair about this. I am concerned about what happened to AFIP in year 6. So this had been council's baby forever. It usually came up and was a big focus during budget hearings, and then we're up to $150,000 per ward, $2.55 million total in year 5. Then year 6, it shifted to ARPA, and we're back down to $75,000 per ward. So I'm not totally clear how that happened. I want to bring up 2 points. One is my understanding through the chair that when we come to the budget table during this budget cycle, we'll be talking about year 7. But also, I'm going to embarrass myself, but it's important that I do so. I've still never fully understood the source. ARPA was a one-time thing, one and done. That's not happening again. But I had always thought it was general funds, but then I heard it was capital funds. Can we, and maybe this is something for our policy and research staff as well, can we kind of clarify once and for all, are we approving AFIP funds as part of the general fund budget or as part of the capital budget? Because I do not want something happened in year 6 where we went down to $75,000 per ward using ARPA, and it just didn't get the attention last year. I intend, and I hope others will join me in making sure AFIP gets plenty of attention this year. So really wanting to, through the chair to the director, confirm we'll be discussing the year 7 budget, and can we make sure before we come to the budget table to be clear about, are we talking general fund or capital? Through the chair.
To the councilwoman through the chair, yes, the first 5 years were capital dollars. And then you're right, year 6 was ARPA dollars. I think an important thing to just remember as you're looking at those line items in your budget is that our contract starts November for it. So, a budget you passed in March. So you're seeing that maybe in your dollars, but, it takes us a year of processing applications. We've got this, Jennifer and her team have really got this system down with Adam about when we open up applications, how we process them, when we get them to Community Housing Solutions. So applications for year 6 opened in August, I believe. And that gives us a couple of months in aging to process applications. So come November 1st, we've already got jobs to Community Housing Solutions. So
I might be running a little low on my time here, Mr. Chair, but I'm going to continue with some AFIP questions. Sure.
And I'm thinking about it. It's throwing me off, and it's to Adam. Mary mentioned that your budgeting cycle starts, because that's what threw me off when I saw the 12 out of 275. You remember when I asked the question when we met earlier? How can it start different? How do you connect it with? You got me thrown off with that. you're budgeting, because I'm used to us, we pass transmittal, we okay it in April, and then you start at a different cycle. I mean, the reason I'm throwing off, because I don't know, and I'm trying to ask the question, so I'm trying to seek to understand.
Yeah, to the chair, it's a great question. With this program, from its inception, I'll just say we were always just a little bit behind, and that's through no one's fault. It's just the way it was. We were awarded the budget in 2018. The legislation came later for that program, so it came in the summer. But then we also had to do a request for proposal period. So it really wasn't until 2019 that the program actually started, the jobs and work being done. So we've always been a little bit like off base with like the city's budgeting cycle. And so we've also had to do a second proposal during that time period as well. We had original was for a 3-year period, then a second 3-year period. We're in that second 3-year period for our contract right now. And so in between the delay in the start and then just getting the second proposal ready as well, we're not lined up with the city budgeting process. And so I would just encourage everybody to keep in mind that, to the director's point, when you're looking at the budget in February, it may look healthy, it may look a little full, but we need to keep in mind that October, November, that we're going to be, depleted. And so we need the funding for when the contract starts.
Wow. I'm trying to get my mind around it.
It's a bear.
Yeah. I'll, when we talk, I'll sit back and I'll digest what you said, and then I'll ask you the question later. Not at the table,
That's fine.
but later.
Yep.
How you line it up, because it's offline.
Yeah, we can maybe with a little bit of support or time, I can go through and create a timeline or something that might be useful for you to help sort of get to see it in your mind's eye, so to say.
That's what I need. All right, thank you. I'm sorry, Councilor Lady.
No worries. I think I may conclude with this, just to defer to other colleagues who have questions as well. This slide, I don't know which number it's slide 7, and it's the one about age-friendly year 5. Yep. Very helpful, a lot of information here. The most important is getting seniors help, but I do notice that some wards are a bit more productive than others. I'm not happy that my ward is one of the slowest to be, and I don't know if this is an application question. So I guess, let me get to this. The way we have budgeted, if I understand correctly, the way we've budgeted AFIP is a kind of a per ward amount. And knowing that seniors everywhere need as much help as we can get them. So my question through the chair is, do we cap, is there literally a cap per ward, meaning using the year 5 example on this slide, 150,000, and once you've reached the max number of applications and jobs in that ward, you have to wait for year 6 to begin. Is that accurate, first through the chair?
To the councilwoman through the chair, yes.
Okay. So I'm a little concerned about, and I will call out my own ward as a laggard here in production for year 5. So if I understand this slide correctly, my ward, because we haven't somehow, for whatever reason, we haven't been supporting seniors in applying, is what I would presume. We haven't been providing enough support to get the word out or to get seniors to apply. I would have almost 57,000 in funds rolling into year 6 for Ward 15.
To the councilman through the chair, that is correct that it's an application assistance. That doesn't reflect on community housing solutions.
No, right.
That is us getting complete applications from eligible individuals and getting them over and getting the required documents. While less cumbersome than SHAP, there are required documents. And so it's either an application, getting good applications in the office, and getting the support people need to complete the applications.
Right. And so, that's right. So to kind of wrap this up, Yes, so can we confirm that, does aging, if I recall correctly, does aging mail out applications to folks? And I can't remember the universe of folks that it mails out to and how those group folks are selected for the mailing, for the applications.
To the councilman through the chair, yes, applications are mailed out to anyone who requests them. So residents from around the city, request them year-round, and we maintain a waiting list or a mailing list for when we release the new application. The applications are also available on our website. Applications, we deliver them to community partners. That would be a reason we'd make a robocall, the outreach for it. And so this is why we're out in the community, what my hope would be every day doing outreach, because there's still people in your ward who don't know about the age-friendly home investment program. I will speak to your ward in particular. We have the application in Spanish as well. We think that's a way we can increase applicants, and so that application is out there. But welcome any help you have to get out this information.
Yeah. So to make sure I understand, the folks on the waiting list who would automatically get an application in the mail, is that accurate, once applications open?
That is correct. So
Okay.
anyone who was denied the previous year because we were at capacity or inquired about it this new year would get an application mailed to them. Those folks who were denied in the previous year because we were at capacity would have gotten a personalized letter, with their name on it, saying, so we're as much targeting as we can to try and help people open the mail and see that this program's here to help.
Right. And so then this is my last piece, which is, it seems to me, though, that most people still need some support, right, to pull together. And I know your staff would provide that, Director. But this is, in theory, the purpose of these community engagement specialists, formerly known as the Healthy Homes Specialists, AKA. That's the high-touch application assistance. And I am still slightly concerned that this program is not in their DNA, meaning, do they all really know about this program? Are they really pushing it out? Are they really, as they're in the flow of interacting with residents, really making sure? I think so, but I'm not totally sure. And then my last question would be, there is an application opening period, but it's also kind of a rolling. These can be completed at any point as long as there are funds available. Is that accurate, through the chair?
Through the chair to the councilman, that is correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you for allowing me the time to ask about the program, and Mr. Chair, it was helpful to me. Thank you.
I think that, Council Lady, this is me. What I do, Director, I walk my neighborhood a lot. What I do, I get flyers, I drop it in the neighborhood.
Right.
We put newsletters out. We try to do total communication. I just don't rely on you guys to do it, because I reach out to you all the time to try to get it done. And that total communication, maybe robocalls, maybe texting. We could do text. We could do, and then you guys have reverse 911. You could push that out also, and rely on other key stakeholders to move it out there as well, so that they know about the grants this year for quality of life needs. And that's just me. I'll push it out constantly. You had a point? Yes. And then I'll yield to Councilmember Joe Jones.
Okay, about just
Chairman, I
point.
don't mind yielding to the distinguished lady, Mrs. Dept Moore.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
thank you, Councilman Joe Jones, appreciate that. So, Chair, see, he just threw me off. Director.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Just a point to Councilwoman Spencer regarding the age-friendly investment grant. I work with due diligence. I'm like what Councilman comment. Well, the Ward 4 residents love this program. And once I heard about it, before I even came council, I knew about it then, pushing it out in the community as a precinct committee person, working with the the CDC's burn bill card. That's when I realized what it was, and that's when I met you then. But the question I have pertaining to the age-friendly home investment program, I know that you start distributing the application out like in September. They have to have it in by December, and then the following year you select. Is it you still selected 10 homeowners out of the for each ward to get approval? How does that selection process work? Because we have many senior citizens apply for the application, and all of them homes considered as in some type of repair. And the question is, I don't have the answer because I said I don't work in the department. We just have distributed the application out. Well, you know, where we get the information out, you know, for you guys to mail it to the senior citizens. But the question is, how, Chair, to the Director, how does that selection process work of choosing those 10 applicants every year to say who's going to get the home repair? Because that's the question because that's what comes up. Like you said, if they get denied, then they have to reapply every year until they get accepted. So could you elaborate a little bit on that particular question? Thank you, Chair and Councilwoman Spencer.
Sure. To the Councilwoman through the chair, I think a key piece I would say is it's really important to get the application in as soon as possible because the applications are processed by date received. And so when we open up the application for the year, that's the announcement. You would have all gotten an email from me, also a packet of applications. That opening of the application each year is our message to residents. It's out. Turn it in as quickly as possible. We date stamp each one. Those first couple of weeks after the application is received, it's like the North Pole with letters from interested people. And the mail person knows us well. We include an envelope that has our address on it. We want to make it as easy as possible. But getting it in quickly is most important. You did say something that I just want to clarify. There is no end date. You had mentioned like December as the date you have to get it in. In some wards, we will not have gotten enough applications by December. And so there is no end date. It's when we reach capacity in the ward. So then once we're within a ward looking at the applications when received by, then in that order, we're calling the residents, asking them for the supportive documents. So you've probably heard the name Chad. He's our lead on processing age-friendly applications with the support of Angela. And, those are, Jennifer and her team have really got a system to make sure that we can tell when someone's application came in. And so if someone wants to know their status, I would say, please call the Department of Aging and find out where they're at. And then if they didn't get it this year, next year, they're going to get an application for it for the next. So I hope that's helpful.
She's saying have it in by when? December when? The 11th?
To the chair, there's no get it in today, is what I tell people all the time. If they have an application, get it in as soon as possible.
So something that you said to Chair, to the Director, you said there's no end date per se, but is there you said some wards don't have the capacity of if you don't get a lot of the applications in for some wards, but you got enough for another ward, what is that capacity limit? Is it like, just say I'm using Ward 4, and I know you get a lot of applications from Ward 4, okay? So will that be like 300 or 400 residents per se that can, once you get that capacity, is it that amount per se? Because even though it's over the amount, is it something to that you stop?
To the Councilwoman through the chair, I think you can expect if it's 150,000 per ward, I think you can expect somewhere between 10 to 11 jobs are able to be done with that. So, you know, having 200 people in Ward 4, there would be many disappointed people because, while there's no cap to it, what we're going to be then also doing is talking about, are they eligible for any other home repair programs? So I'll use an example in Councilman Jones' ward. We had many people apply for this year's age-friendly program. And when New Dollars with Mayor Bibb's Southeast Side Initiative came along, Jennifer worked with Marvin Owens and Asia Aaron to see, also in your ward, Councilwoman, to see if any of those seniors on our list that had applied for AFIP matched the targeted areas, and really glad to report they did.
They did.
And so we were able to make a warm transfer
That's good.
of those applications to the Southeast Side
And that
home
worked.
repair.
Yeah.
So that relieves some of the queue in our office. So in 1, 2, and 4, and anytime dollars come available. Recently, Burton Bell Carr reached out to us about some home repair dollars.
Wonderful.
The answer for us is always yes. When someone calls us and says, from an agency saying, we have dollars, do you have people? We always have people
Okay.
who call us.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director.
Other key stakeholders. So let me ask you this, then I'm going to yield to Councilmember Joe Jones, and this is to Adam. So, how many we say per ward? What is it? 100 and like in Ward 9, my budget would be 175,000.
In year 5, it was 150,000.
All right. So let's say that if a certain ward, they're not using theirs, they haven't been using it. At the end of the year, do we reach over there and grab some of the money from over there?
No, sir. Historically, we've not crossed, we're not crossing the stream, so to say. Each ward stays independently.
What if it's, and I'm not saying to do it, but what if it's at the end of the line and you have someone that really needs something in Ward 4, but in Ward 9, they're not using all of the money because the money belongs to the city of Cleveland residents. And this person is in abject poverty, but they need that money. It's a need there. In any other ward, they're just not using it. Could we just do a fund transfer or whatever? It's not in a fund, but could we do it just, you know what I'm saying? Cross the dollars over.
Right.
Like it's like a general fund to help Ward 4 from out of Ward 9 or whatever the case may be.
To the councilman, if I may answer that one, we would not currently cross streams with that, but we would look for other partners in the community. If you called me about a senior in need, I'd look at all the other home repair partners that we regularly work with to see, does anyone else have the resources to make that repair? So this isn't just the only pool of a program out there.
Oh, that's a good thing. That's really good. Councilmember Joe Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, often I, talk about their importance, and I appreciate the mission that this department has in terms of the work that it provides. Our senior citizens, Mr. Chairman, are one of our biggest assets in the city of Cleveland and in particular Ward 1. And one of the things that's really important, Mr. Chairman, that I try to focus on a lot of the time, actually most of the time, is how do we serve them? What programs are effective and what programs are not so effective? And making sure that our senior citizens, Mr. Chairman, have a good, strong communication channel to their government. The question was asked to me, and I'm still pondering the thought, is what good is government? And how efficient can government be in helping people, and how fast should they be in terms of flexibility? Now, the question is a daunting question because it causes you to have to really fundamentally think about how programs work and how those programs efficiently and effectively get to assisting our citizens in our neighborhoods. And there's no one cookie cutter system in place, but this council, this government, and other governments have unfortunately discriminated against the senior population. And the way in which, Mr. Chairman, that they distribute funds and and programs that to hopefully assist them in having a quality life. Now, let me kind of break that down, Mr. Chairman, if I may. First, before I start there, let's move in the directions that I thought was really productive this morning. We started out on, Mr. Chairman, one of the biggest problems that our senior citizens have as they begin to age is their health. And we talked about putting together those walking programs and the Tai Chi earlier. So I really appreciate, Mr. Chairman, that you have done a fabulous job in making sure that you connect your senior citizens to some of these kind of activities. One of the activities I've talked about here at this table to some great nauseam is, Mr. Chairman, the SHAP program and other programs that reach out to really fundamentally help our senior citizens, and how productive they are. So if we could, and I know that, Mr. Chairman, some of this conversation started with our colleague Jenny Spencer on some of those programs and the significance and importance of it. So I want to kind of like leave off where start off where she left, and one of it would be the $75,000. So the first question, Mr. Chairman, to the director, are we looking to restore that to $150,000 this year?
It's gonna be up to us.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, do we have the distinguished lady make this a part of our argument, is to make sure that this is a part of our reconciliation? Who's the distinguished lady, Mr. Chairman? I can't see her.
Eva Coon.
Eva Coom? Eva Coom? Eva Coom? Eva Coom there? All right.
That's Nigeria, man.
Miss Nigeria. All right. Or Eva Coom and Miss Nigeria. Can you please put on for council's conversation piece is to talk about the restoring the $150,000, because our senior citizens use every penny. Mm-hmm. And so I would like to have that as part of our reconciliation discussion, and that's on us. The second piece, Mr. Chairman, is the flexibility of government and how we put programs into place. And I would also ask, Mr. Chairman, if this is possible, that we convene a separate committee at your choosing. I think this is important because we have regulations, what I call onerous regulations into these programmings that we encumber ourselves. In other words, like we have the casino funds, we're restricted to how we use those funds. But those restrictions, Mr. Chairman, is no restrictions, they're restrictions we created. So we create the environment. So I want to get us in the mindset that we are government and the reality of what we create is our reality. So what we really create here at the table should not be going along to get along with something someone else created that has encumbered or has caused, which to no fault of the director, with these programmings, that has caused our communities not to grow as fast. And part of that is the rules and regulations that have been set up to restrict people from being able to get these dollars to help them in their homes. And I would say that we're all one party here, so we should be doing a better job in terms of writing the regulations necessary so that all of our citizens will have true access to their government. It is appalling to me that we sit here today and you have to be absolutely, totally desolate to get a hold of these programs to help you get along and go along. And then you're begging for them. And then you're on a waiting list. And then the waiting list turns into a year. Then it turns into 6 years, and some folks don't even get a chance, they die off. So, Mr. Chairman, you know, with my experience sitting here at this end of the table, for me, and I can't speak for anyone else, is to offer and provide the best services possible, as well as to super serve my customers. So when you see the passion sitting here at the end of this table, You're seeing the passion speak on behalf of the citizens. You see the true will of the citizens sitting here. Because when I sit here at the end of this table, I'm bringing to you what they're saying to me about these programs that impact them and don't impact them because they can't even qualify. So I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, we have a committee sit to aside, take a look at the SHOP program. And what's the other program you have? You said it's up to 36,000. I think we gave it an acronym.
Through the chair to the councilman, it's the age-friendly home investment, so we call it AFIP for
Yeah,
short.
so we need to change that too.
Yeah, we changed that.
Because every neighborhood is different. Whereas, for an example, citizens in one portion of the neighborhood, I won't say no council member's name, somebody might get offended, is totally different than in my neighborhood.
That's true, that's true.
So we need to have a different bar and a different process for Ward 1, and we haven't had it. We've had this cookie cutter program throughout the course of 30 years, and it has done nothing for the east side. So while we're talking about, and I think me and Ms. Gray had a little touch on this, about what neighborhoods get investments and what neighborhood does not get investments. So I would ask that we reconvene and take a look at how these programs are written, and do we have, and I believe that we have plenty of say-so on writing the regs for them here at this table. That's why we're legislators. If we can't write the law, then who will? So let's write the law in so that our citizens can truly have access to these programs. And then let's write in some of the regulations too. I've sat here at this table, Mr. Chairman, and I keep saying the same things over again, and they're not being taken care of on this side, right, in this department. So now I've argued here at this table, Mr. Chairman, successfully. We have a new director of one of the other departments. I don't have the same kind of grass cut issues I had before because they're getting on it. I don't have the same kind of illegal dumping that I once held in my neighborhood because they're getting on it. They're taking care of business. So when I sit here and I'm sitting here pounding at the table for 6, 7, 8 years and I keep telling you the same thing and it still doesn't seem to, for whatever reason, get resolved, that's a problem for me. So the question comes down to, how many people do we have on the SHOP program currently that's being served?
Through the chair to the councilman, the SHAP program goes through the Department of Community Development, so that is not
It's not even your
housed-
department anymore.
No. Well, it has always had a component in my department where we do application assistance. So we have 2 full-time staff who help people complete SHAP applications, and then we bring them to the Department of Community Development. But all job production and all of the construction management is not in the Department of Aging. It's in the Department of Community Development.
Okay, so the age-friendly program is where we got it reduced last year from 75 from 150, right? Now I got it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The results for that program, you talked about that, and you gave us a slide on all of the neighborhoods, and that was just for last year, correct? Or is that for this year numbers?
To the councilman through the chair. So the data I have in the PowerPoint is a little bit of a mix of year 5, which just ended. And so in Ward 1, that was 11 jobs complete. But I also, because we had 5 years of data, the map reflects the census tracts for the first 5 years of the program, where 776 jobs were done across the city.
7 total.
776.
And this is a program you exclusively kind of work out of your shop. Can you explain to me how it works? So an applicant comes in, if you could start from there real quick, and if you could briefly go through. I kind of got an idea, but I'm not sure.
Sure. Councilman, I'm happy to through the chair. If I could turn you to the page that's on the screen now that has the year 5, I'll just reference the workflow. So in the left-hand side, aging processes all of the applications. So those applications, as I mentioned, get released on one day and they would have been sent to anyone who requested information, or through our intake, we promoted the program, told them we thought this could be helpful to them. Anyone you referred. So all of those applications come in, and Jennifer and her team process all of those. And then we make the referral to Community Housing Solutions, and they're the construction management partner.
Now, can you ask Jennifer to raise her hand so I can know who she is?
Sure, Jennifer?
Okay, great. Thank you.
So Jennifer and Adam work very closely on this because managing the estimates that come in for the job really ties into the money part of this, which Adam manages. So Community Housing Solutions then goes out to the senior's home and does an assessment of the home, meets with the senior, finds out what the needs are. You know, a senior may tell them, I was just dropped from my homeowner's insurance because of my roof. Can we focus there? You may walk up and see the driveway's completely torn apart, and that's a fall risk. So they're assessing for that need. They're also keeping in mind our budget. They then come back to the Department of Aging with an estimate from a small contractor they're working with. And Jennifer and Adam approve that estimate. That's matched with what's in the budget for that ward. So we're, closely monitoring that. You see that down to the penny. And then Community Housing Solutions begins work on it. Often very quickly, you see that they're finishing a job, if I average, every 2.75 days. Then what happens after the job is done, we get notification because we essentially get the invoice from Community Housing Solutions. And that generates Mike Shockley from Building and Housing to go out to that home and make sure that that job is complete, high quality, meets the city standards. Mike brings with him our customer satisfaction survey and a bag of resources, comes back to the office, sends Adam a note that says, this is approved, pay the bill. And that's the cycle. And we've done that 776 times where, those are individual checks cut to Community Housing Solutions.
Mr. Chairman, make a special note on this program too. I would, for reconciliation purposes, look to restore what we lost last year with an additional $75,000, Mr. Chairman, to be added in the reconciliation for this program. I think that, at the end of the day, Mr. Chairman, this is a really important program for our senior citizens. And if the distinguished lady in the back could be so kind to make sure this is added to our reconciliation, I would be appreciative. And I will put note here, Mr. Chairman, how important this program is and how it has had a very positive impact on seniors who have that. What I would ask for, Mr. Chairman, with your leadership, because I don't know how soon we'll potentially get the committee together, to work with the director and maybe the law department to look at how we can create a program that has a little bit more flexibility in it, Mr. Chairman, for our senior citizens that represent Ward 1. There are some senior citizens, Mr. Chairman, who are already encumbered with their funds. So there are senior citizens on fixed income. So even though, Mr. Chairman, their income is higher than what we have here on paper, they are still poor. And they're poor because, Mr. Chairman, all of their monies are already encumbered into bills already. So they need further assistance, and I believe, Mr. Chairman, that our program should be retrofitted and flexible for our citizens to take advantage of that. And we can see that if we look at the maps really quickly. I can tell you why some areas are taking advantage of the program and the reasons why some areas are not taking advantage of the programs. And part of that is because in those areas that are not taking full throttle advantage is because their neighborhood is a little bit richer and wealthier than most. So, Mr. Chairman, though, and again, I don't want to make people get upset, so please forgive me if you thought I said something that offended your sensitivities. But at the end of the day, I'm concerned about how this reaches my neighborhood. And I would like to sit down with you to talk about adding additional funds for my neighborhood in a program that has the flexibility to really reach our citizens. And I say that, Mr. Chairman, because what we're seeing right now, unfortunately, is a trend. And this trend right now, and I've talked about this here at the table, but it fell on deaf ears on both sides. And that is preventing our city, the city of Cleveland, from becoming a transient community where we have nothing but our homes and new construction being rental only. And it is my hope that we can stop some of the hemorrhaging by offering programs that really help our seniors, because we know, Mr. Chairman, that our senior citizens are going to take care of their properties. And they're totally different from those who are renting properties. So we have people come in, Mr. Chairman, into our neighborhoods, and they're not accustomed to being in a neighborhood. They don't act like they're in a neighborhood. They act like they're in the country somewhere where they're blasting their music. Their parents is walking down, they're smoking down the street. People don't want to smell that smoke. We know what the smoke is, but we're not trying to smell the smoke. And so there's a whole lot of cultural changes that are happening. And I can't afford, Mr. Chairman, to lose my senior citizens. Now, grass cutting. This is something I think that your department has improved. We've had conversations about this previously. And I would suggest our program right now is running fantastic. And I'm thankful that you guys are, I presume you said you had an increase. Can you talk a little bit more about with that increase?
Thank him right now. What's his name?
Frank, behind me is Frank Isaac Jr., who runs the CHOR program.
Okay, good.
Managing it.
I see him. So,
To the
unless you're
council-
going to ask him to come to the table, we got it.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
but
we got
what has been the increase? Because that's I'm appreciative of that. But can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. To the councilman through the chair, I'll let Adam queue up the amount of money in the new budget, what we asked for, but we want to continue to grow that. We, this year, had 4 contractors working with us. One of those, our long-standing one, Court Community Services. So essentially, these contractors take 2 wards for us, which then decreases the windshield time for all of us, right? They're focused in wards. And then our home maintenance aid, which is a combination of CDBG funds, primarily for the city staff, but these contract dollars come out of general fund. So, Adam, the new 2025 request is for how much more grass cutting?
In our 2025 budget request, we've requested an additional $50,000 in general fund dollars to support the grass cutting program.
Still got 3 more minutes. You got 2 more minutes.
I may have to come back on this because the issue of the grass cutting, Mr. Chairman, just to add 50,000, so that's going to add how many? What's the increase? Projected increase?
We project that with that 50,000, we'll be able to serve approximately 200 more participants.
Mr. Chairman, I just end my 3 minutes here, and if you could put me back on.
You the last one, Joe.
Okay,
Oh.
I'll come back on.
Uh-oh.
I'll come back on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're so kind.
I got to yield to the
I appreciate
council
it.
lady.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. So on the grass cutting side of it, right, one of the things that's really important that we hear from a lot of our clients, we go to our customers, we ask them how their grass cuts got done. I go and knock on the doors if I can't get the phone calls, so I got a knock door list. And the question that that constantly comes to me, it was in the past, it's now different. And that's because those seniors we deal with are our own customers directly. We found, Mr. Chairman, that just cutting once a month just wasn't going to cut it. I mean, I can understand that being a mercy program, to give somebody, have mercy on me because I don't have anybody to cut my grass. But if we're a city, and we are a city of the same size as other cities, I think that we should look to substantially increase our grass cutting program, and that we at least give some dignity. The term is dignity. Dignity to our senior citizens who are on the Mercy Ask program. And that's exactly what this is. And if we could at least cut their grass twice a month, I think that that's dignified. And it's one of the reasons why we try to do it, and our off, when I say off, meaning that when it's the hot months, July and August, coming into that, we know the grow time is not as much. But in the months of April, May, and June, we know that there's a lot of cuts that need to be made because of the water. So we have 3 cuts a month. So I would ask, Mr. Chairman, to the director if we could have a little bit of a dignity ask in this and increase our senior citizens because they deserve it. Some of our senior citizens, Mr. Chairman, they have never asked government for anything as long as they lived, and they've paid all of these taxes. And we're about to get ready right now and give the rich and the wealthy another $20 million out of almost $2 billion in sports franchises we've invested in just a mere 15 years and encumbered here just recently. So I would ask, Mr. Chairman, if we could increase that. And Mr. Chairman, I yield to you. I really appreciate your leadership here at this table and all that you do to help us get programs out to our people. And then if I ask humbly, if you could put me back on.
You know, I'm going to meet with the director next week. We'll sit back and we're going to meet to discuss some of the things that you guys have narrated. So we will, we'll talk. Matter of fact, it would be good for me to come over there where you're at, and where I can meet some more of your staff.
Please.
All right, so I'll come over there. Chair, Vice Chair, you want to say something real quick?
No, I'll go after Councilwoman House Jones.
All right, Council Lady.
Through the chair to the director, good morning, and good morning to the staff that's here. I just had a couple of questions. First, starting off with this slide, can you explain to me why there is a balance of $33,545 regarding Ward 7's age-friendly home investment?
Sure. To the councilwoman, I would like to ask Adam to answer that question.
To the chair, to the councilman, the balance you're seeing there on that column is the accumulation of the previous 5 years of the program. So there may be a few $1,000s left over. It's hard to come out exactly on the nose for a home repair job. So anything that's left over is what you see in that column, and we carry that balance forward. So
can you, through the chair,
Yep.
can you tell me, so this is one of the things where I struggle with, right? So, and again, it's differently. So again, and this is part of, I would say, one of the challenges in fully understanding where money is, the contracting process, just in the city of Cleveland in general. You get a number here, it's like fiscal years don't match up with program years. I mean, this is, and then like the carryover, right? You're saying, oh no, this is running over from years and years and years. So I can't pinpoint where the problem is. A, when I asked the question, I guess through the chair to the director, are there any wait lists or applications that are lingering for the age-friendly home improvement program for Ward 7?
Through the chair to the councilwoman, I'll piggyback on Adam, and then I'll answer that second question. I know for a couple of reasons in Ward 7, without knowing exactly what year, but if someone died in the process of applying, or moved out of their home, that job didn't make it to completion. So they may have been allocated funds, and so that's where we would roll it over to the next year for those dollars. So there would be, I can give you more specifics for Ward 7, as Adam said, through year 1 through 5 about, what was an anomaly maybe in one of the years, why there was a higher amount not used, whether it was complete applications. There are people in Ward 7 that would not have been served in year 5. And so those individuals would have been encouraged to apply to year 6, which is what we're in now. And I can, I don't have the numbers here by ward, but we have received 234 applications to work with across all 17 wards for year 6 jobs.
Okay, so let's just focus in on year 5. How many people applied for the age-friendly home investment in year 5 in Ward 7?
To the councilwoman, through the chair, I don't have that information here, but I can get that for you.
So through the chair to the director, and this is one of the things where we when we having these operational meetings, as this is a new process, to have an informative conversation, you need to have the context of the information. If it's shown that, and to be quite frank, I don't. 8 projects to me, I'm just gonna say, like in a year, that is not a lot. So it is hard for me to grasp or understand that if only 8 projects have been done, were only 8 if I don't know how many applications were submitted, I see that 8 projects were actually done, and then there's a balance of $35,000. I mean, we talk about, this is not even a project a month. And I guess, of course, in the totality of all the other work that's being done, one of the, I guess, a part of the thing that I'm really trying to assess here in the city of Cleveland is not just the doing of the work, it's actually the real impact, right? What is our, what is the actual impact? And, Department of Aging is one of those things where we hear all the time that the city of Cleveland is not a social service agency. But in there, this table, it's like the Department of Aging is a social service agency. And so what does that look like in partnership with the county? How does that compare of the services at the county? And are we leveraging the resources the best that we can, understanding foreseeable, the city of Cleveland is going to be dealing with some significant financial challenges due to change in state policy that is going to require us potentially to put more to our first responders' pensions to the tune $7-8 million just in the first year. So we're going to have to make some serious changes, adjustments, potentially, maybe not. And I'm just, it's hard for me to digest, to understand why we have this balance here. And I don't have the information. Anybody have information? When can I have the information? When we have the opportunity to talk about it? That's a question, a little bit.
Yeah, to the councilwoman, to the chair, I'm happy to come back to the table with more in-depth and just focus on age-friendly. This was my whole operational hearing.
Yeah.
Happy to take a deeper dive into that and tell you the number of applications
And
per
then it
ward.
was in 1 year, this is, again, gets to my frustration a little bit, is that through the chair to the director, is in 1 year, it is shown that, you didn't use the money, so then you lose the money, so then more people don't get served. And I don't manage any of this, me personally. So I'm really trying to figure out what is the issue, what is the problem specifically that may be happening in Ward 7 where no one has made me aware of it, I don't know of it, what's going on?
Through the councilperson, or through the chair to the councilperson, I just want to clarify, you don't lose the money.
We
it
did.
rolls.
It was 1 year. It was in 1 year that $150,000 was not allocated. I'm almost certain it was in 2022. Or last year, where it was the same, it was the same amount of money. It was not a reallocation given because they were saying the money wasn't utilized.
Wow. You should have the records. Adam should have records on that. Then you could
Yeah.
yeah, you should have the records, and then you could give it to the council lady. And what year, council lady?
I thought it was in 22, and it might have been last year.
Just show for 5 years. what,
Sure. So
money rolled
I'll do my
over.
best, and then I'll let Adam speak to it as well. So we spoke about this a little bit earlier, that the contract year for our partner starts in November each year. And so budget season, when we're in March, it may look like there's dollars on the books, but we're always in the queue of processing applications. And so the program has been nonstop since the beginning, since 2018 of creating. So we've got, last year there was a decrease in an allocation to it. So what was 150,000 was 75,000 per ward. And so that's what we're coming back to the table saying, for budget hearings, we think there's a lot of production out of this, 174 jobs in year 5. We believe we can keep that momentum going. And so Adam, if you've got any more to add.
Thank you. Through the chair, you summed it up very well. I'll just add that, reiterate too, again, that if you look at our budget in February, during budget season, it may look healthy, but keep in mind that we're concerned about October, November, when it'll be mostly depleted. And so if you come around in a budget season, you might see that it looks okay, but just bear in mind, please, keep it in the back of your head for us, that we're not synced up with the city's budget system. We're delayed.
Through the chair to the team, why is that? Why are you delayed?
Told you.
Yeah, so through the chair to the councilman, that was a question from earlier as well. And like I said, we're happy to sort of provide like a little bit of a timeline so you can understand. The program has always been a little bit delayed. Going back, the funding was originally, for the first year, was granted to us in 2018. It took us some time to get the legislation, and then it took us some time to do a request for proposals, and then to create those contracts, create the process, the flow for the program, and to have everything set up in place. So it wasn't really until spring 2019 that we had jobs and things actually happening. So we went a full year where there wasn't any money spent. And so I think we've always been a little bit behind. And so depending on when you're looking at our budget, you might see that, oh, it looks like they have a lot of money, oh, it looks like they don't have a lot of money, and it doesn't always sync up with the city's system.
Through the chair to the team here, is that the most effective way? Does the program year, funding year make a difference on the effectiveness of the operation of the program?
I think to the councilwoman through the chair, our current contract ended October 31st, and the new one began November 1st.
Right.
So there's no gap in that. When I look at what the carryover is from $9 million that's been spent through Age Friendly since its inception, the total is $246,000. So the vast majority of the money got out and went into jobs. This carryover, to Adam's point, is we can't always sync the amount left in a year. Without having the details in front of me, you may have had, in Ward 7, a year with $6,000 left, but the next job in the queue came in at $11,000. And so I couldn't fund it out of that year. And so that's where that $4,000 would have rolled over to the next year to use. So that $33,000 is from the first 5 years of carryover. And I think it would be most helpful to your point if we get back together specifically on AFIP and I get you those dollars. And in advance of that, we can send you, each council person, the carryover per year.
And then as part of through the chair to the director, if you could talk about how long does it take for the contracting process? That would be helpful. The other points, I guess, that are through the chair to the director, are any for the age-friendly home investment or other programs where the city is spending grant dollars for home repairs? What connection do we have to transfer on deaf deeds, wheels for properties, things of that nature? Is there any connection to the properties of the Cleveland residents that are getting public dollars for their home improvement?
Through the co-chair to the councilwoman, the contracting process currently right now, the age-friendly home investment program we will have to put out to bid this year, but then we are able to roll over. Is it 3 years, Adam?
Yeah, so historically, our legislation has been for one-year contracts with 2 one-year options to renew. So 3 years total.
So there's not typically a gap between as I just said, October 31st to November 1st if the contractor's performing. Based on the next cycle when we put it out to bid, based on who applies, there may be a delay in starting a new contractor, but we hope not. We'd work to alleviate that by putting out the request for proposals. We look to do that in the spring for November 25's contract.
Okay, and then through the chair to the director, as it related to the estate planning for when we're using public dollars for these grant and home improvements.
To the councilwoman, there's no requirement in the current AFIP grant that a person has estate planning in order to participate in the program.
Through the chair do we know how many, and reason why I'm asking this question, like how many homes that have been demolished got like grant funded? And you know what I'm saying? Like how many homes that we have demolished at the city of Cleveland have been connected to resources that we've given from the city of Cleveland?
To the councilwoman, that's a very good question. I do not have the answer for that, though.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I think I really appreciate the line of questioning, and I know it's a question we've all been following along throughout the committee today. I had a final set of questions just related to senior transportation connections. I know that they can be a really valuable resource, but I just want to, we've also struggled in Ward 12 and Ward 13 that one of our local transportation options, Senior Citizen Resources, has not gotten transportation funding from community development because they've tried to move everything over to Senior Transportation Connections. And so I just want to get on the record some of the limitations of Senior Transportation Connections as we continue to advocate for a more robust transportation option for our seniors in Old Brooklyn and on the southwest side of the city. So is it correct that if you use Senior Transportation Connections that you can only do one round trip ride per week through the chair? Or through the chair, I am the chair, through me. And is it correct that you can only do one per week?
That is correct.
Okay, and so if you use Senior Transportation Connections to go to a doctor's appointment, you would not be able to go to the grocery store, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and is Senior Transportation Connections currently the only available city-funded transportation option for seniors in the city?
To my knowledge, it is.
Okay. I'll just say, and I know others have had other programs that were previously funded through community development. Senior Citizen Resources does a number of routes. I help fund one that goes to my Ward 12 senior buildings, but the individual rides and scheduling they've ceased the funding to move it all to Senior Transportation Connections. And I do think it's really been a loss of diversity of options for our residents. And also because, as you know, trust is just the number one thing with seniors. Seniors knew Senior Citizen Resources. They knew SCR. They knew the drivers. They knew the vans. And then they were not familiar with Senior Transportation Connections. And so when this switchover happened, I've been concerned that we've had fewer people willing to utilize those resources. I know that funding goes through community development, but I did just want to bring it to the forefront. Do I have any other questions from the committee? We are headed towards caucus. Okay, thank you.
Just very briefly and kind of two follow-ups. To Councilwoman House Jones's point about kind of tracking the homes over time, is it possible to get a list of all the homes or just the addresses that have been touched by the different programs, and maybe we can do some of that the kind of background data collection? Because I've had the same ask. I think that there's first and foremost, we're seeking to help individual seniors, and then that should be the North Star, but also understanding what else do we need to do to kind of preserve our own investment, make sure that people are being able to hopefully sell the house if they want to and be able to benefit from kind of, that the financial side of home ownership and things like that, that I hope that we're just not stopgapping issues and then having to deal with them in other ways down the road. So I don't know if it's possible to receive that. The second is, my Senior Transportation Connection challenge over the years has been a mileage issue, where because of limited funding, they are kind of restrict the distance you can go, which becomes a challenge for people who live on the edges of the city to maybe get to like a specialist at the clinic. Do you know if that's still the case, Director, that there are some limitations to that end?
Through the chair to the councilman, that is still a current restriction. I think I'd like to recommend that we invite to Health and Human Services Laura Kleinman, who's the executive director of Senior Transportation Connection. I'm on mayor's appointee to the board. We've just gone through a strategic plan and assessment, and so I think these are all things she's considering too as the relatively new director.
So I thank you, and this council person feels that it would be good for this body to have her come, especially as we move towards the budget next year, really understanding what the gap is between what their current funding is and what the funding would need to be to kind of have the program that allows you to go twice a week or allows you to get to your specialist at the clinic. I think that would be a good use of our time to really just focus on the fact that this is a financial limitation at this point, and is this something that we can maybe work towards prioritizing? So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And then Councilman Kelly.
Through Madam Chair, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick comment to the director. You know, all of us here, colleagues, we try and help where we can, and you're a big part of that. I appreciate it. And I just wanted to state to your staff, who's back here left, I bother Mary quite a bit, and she always picks up the phone. And when I work construction, whenever a job was done well, I appreciated it when the general foreman says it was my people. Or when I worked for CMSD, when a school did well, they said I didn't teach a class. I would tell this, whenever I call Mary, she has a specific department and a name to go with it. And then hopefully when I call back when something's accomplished, she always has that name of one of you who does it. So understand that she always puts you out there, and that's appreciated by me as a worker. So thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I appreciate everyone, and this is great timing. As a reminder to the council members, we're headed to caucus at noon. Oh, you wanted to get back on
I came here personally to talk about Department of Aging. That's why I'm sitting here. I'm not on the committee. But I do want to talk about this program, and this time has been allotted for us to talk about the Department of Aging issues, and I haven't even begun to really dig deep.
I appreciate you, Councilman. However, I'm going to have to gavel us out in 8 minutes to head to caucus. We have Representative Rose Sweeney and Representative Brent coming to present to us, and we need to make sure to be in attendance at caucus today. But you can have the remaining 8 minutes, Councilman.
Right. So Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Chairwoman, for the committee, for the purpose of these hearings, I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, that Chairwoman and all the committee that's here, if we're here to talk about a subject matter, and it's about the proposition for how these departments work and how we can get these departments to work better, in terms of productivity, that we should set aside that day for that. And Madam Chairwoman, what we're doing right now is skimming across the top, because we're not giving the citizens their due process of being able to go through these programs. And the director has covered an enormity of information, is so much so that Mrs. House Jones talked about the delivery of services in her neighborhood.
And it's Councilwoman House Jones.
However you want to put it, Mrs. House Jones, my colleague that's sitting here next to me, the distinguished lady, the titled councilwoman, has went through a process of describing some of her stuff. I haven't even gotten into talking about how we improve the productivity of the programs, or even any detail in terms of the financial side of it. So 8 minutes won't do justice to this. If the council is going to get serious about improving the conditions of our senior citizens, we have to spend the necessary time to do it. And in most of these meetings that we've held here, we have had legislation in addition to the hearings, and has been counterproductive for the proposition and the purpose of serving the citizens, and that's what we all do here. So because I'm limited on the time, I would have a conversation off-scene with the director, because it's more in-depth, and I'd like to work some more programming in it. I remember before, a number of members who are sitting here, when we had programs that really punched home. And so I would like to see some of that touch, feel, programs really help our senior citizens. Cutting their grass once is not going to do it. number one. Number two, I'm hoping that they get their leaves because, Madam Chairwoman, to the director, we've had a number of people who've been on the LEAF program and they haven't gotten taken care of. So they called me up, Councilwoman Rebecca Maurer, so I know that you're into titles. I don't care if you call me Joe. It doesn't matter. Titles has nothing to me. I don't even like when people call me who work for me boss. I tell them I'm your colleague. We work together in God's planet. And I'm here for the purpose of improving these programs that I think that are significant and important about improving the quality of life for our senior citizens. And I'll tell you, Rebecca Maurer, Councilwoman Rebecca Maurer, I'm not a happy camper. And so if I was a happy camper, I wouldn't be sitting here at this table. I'm sitting here at this table because there's a number of senior citizens that need to have services, and we need to increase that. Though the numbers may be impressive to you, they're not impressive to me. We have all of this entire program we're talking about right here, the age-friendly home investment program, could serve just one ward because the need is so great. Am I right, Madam Chairwoman? Mr. Chairman, to the director. Is that correct?
Through the chair to the...
It was a question directly to Mr. Chairman, to the director. One ward could use all this money. Is that correct?
To the councilman, there is great need. Many wards have many more applicants than we can serve.
Right. And so I want to sit with you to see how we can super serve our seniors, because that's why I sit here at this table, to take care of my people, regardless of title. To bring services to them is significant and important, because some of us already got nice homes, had silver spoons put in our mouths, but a lot of our people are poor. And when we talk about the losing of population, a lot of our people who do have means are moving to the west side because there's investment there. The east side of the city of Cleveland has no investments, and I've been talking about that, and that's the reason why we're losing population. So we won't be able to improve the conditions unless we have programs that are in place that are going to fundamentally help our senior citizens. That's why I'm sitting here at the table, and I want this table to know that I'm very upset at the fact that if we're going to be about the business of taking care of the city of Cleveland, then we need to make sure that this table, talking about the various different departments, and your department is a multifaceted department that offers numerous services, and there's no way we're going to be able to delve into that with just 2 hours. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that moving forward on this here, because you don't want me to start going off here at this table like a Fannie Lewis, and I will, and some folks ain't going to like it because it cuts deep. And I will say this, that if we have this time convened for the proposition of making sure that these departments function correctly and they serve our citizens, then, Mr. Chairman, and to the Vice Chairwoman, then we need to make sure we allocate the time for that. And if that is on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or even a Saturday, I'll be here. So with that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to take off to the side the proposition of serving our citizens. That's why we're here, to serve them, and to respect our other colleagues in the proposition of it all. So I feel that the citizens of Ward 1 is getting disservice of not being able to really vet out this department properly to make sure that we are adding on to and improving the programs that are there to help our senior citizens. And let me just say this in closing, Mr. Chairman, because the questions I want to ask, by the time she get into one of them, the distinguished lady director may take 5 to 10, 15, 20 minutes just to try to answer that one question. So in the meantime, I would like to suggest that we take the time necessary to vet these departments out. And I'm appreciative of you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm thankful of your leadership here at the table, but we need to really take the time to vet these departments out, and we haven't done that here in this situation. We don't even know, I haven't even heard how much the department is getting in the various different pools of resources that I want to talk about, that we have been given these sheets here to go over, I haven't even had a chance, and I haven't had any discussion. I haven't seen any of the members talk about the finances yet. So with that being said, Mr. Chairman, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. And this is no fault of the administration. This is on our side of the table. This is not just no fault of your own, but this has happened in several meetings where we set aside, we made a commitment to the other side to have a deal, to set aside, to separate, because of the simple fact that budget hearings were so long, was to have this as the outlet. Well, this is not even being treated as the outlet. It's being viced over. Now, I know some members are getting more than others. We ain't even gotten there yet. And so, in the meantime, if we're going to be fair, I think, Mr. Chairman, we should have more time where certain members like myself want to jump deep in. Now, some other members may not need to be, but I came here specifically for this meeting here, and I feel cheated. Thank you.
You know, Joe, this meeting was for operations to look at their systems. And then when we get into finance, budgeting in February, so we're going to go back and review even some of the things that you narrated to us. And like we'll take up from the housing, what are we looking at, $175,000, $150,000, $175,000? And it's up to us if we want to put $200,000 into the housing. It's up to council. Right, so she just come here, director and Adam, to narrate it to us, and then that way, when it's time, when the mayor comes, we know what to add in. You know, so you know, we took your advice. As a matter of fact, we'll meet next week, and we'll sit back and we'll discuss it, and then we can put it into the budget for next year. Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any more questions? We have caucus to make it to, and I have a resident to stop by to see me. So I'm going to be late for caucus, and I'm going to take care of my resident issue and concern so we can move forward. You did a great job narrating. I'll come over to the Department of Aging. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. With that, the hearing is completed.
Thank you.